Hey there, Seahawks, it's Miss Adams, and in this video we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. Alright, so first we're going to distribute if necessary, then we're going to combine like terms, and then we're going to solve. Alright, so our first example, I have 9x plus 1 minus 7x minus 5 equals negative 20. So I'm still going to draw that line down the equal sign to separate the two parts of my equation, and we have to keep it balanced on both sides. Alright, there's nothing to distribute, so I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. So I'm going to put my x terms with x terms, and I'm only combining like terms on everything on the left side and then everything on the right side. So on the right side all I have is a negative 20, so I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to bring it down until I bring something over with it. So 9 minus 7x would give me 2x, and then I have 1 and negative 5, which are just constants, and when I combine those I get negative 4. And I'm going to bring down the negative 20. So I'm trying to get x by itself. I want to get rid of that 4, which is connected by subtraction. So to undo it, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. The 4's cancel, and I'm left with 2x equals negative 16. I want to get x by itself, so I have to get rid of the 2. The 2 is connected by multiplication, so to undo it, I'll divide both sides by 2. And that gives me x equals negative 8. Alright, the next one I have 91 equals negative 7 times 3a minus 1. Alright, I need to distribute the negative 7 to both terms inside the parentheses. So I'm going to do negative 7 times 3a. It's going to give me negative 21a. And negative 7 times negative 1. Well, negative times negative is a positive. So it's going to give me positive 7. And I don't have anything to combine on the left side, so I'm just going to bring the 91 down. Now I want to get a by itself. So I have to get rid of a negative 21, and I also have to get rid of a 7. The 7 is further away from the a. It's less attached, so I'm going to subtract it. And 91 minus 7 becomes 84. So I have 84 equals negative 21a. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 21. And I get negative 4 equals a, or a equals negative 4. Okay, you could just flip-flop it if it makes you feel better. Alright, this next example, I'm going to draw my line. On the right side, all I have is a 23. On the left side, I have to distribute. I have to distribute the negative 3. I also have to distribute the negative 1 that's in front of the other set of parentheses. So when I distribute the negative 3 times k gives me negative 3k. Negative 3 times negative 8 gives me positive 24. And then the other set I'm distributing a negative 1. Negative 1 times k gives me negative 1k, or just negative k. And negative 1 times 5 gives me negative 5. I bring down everything else down. Now I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. So I'm going to combine my k terms with k terms. So I have negative 3k minus 1k gives me negative 4k. And then my constants, I have 24 minus 5, which gives me 19. Bring the 23 down. I'm trying to get k by itself, so I need to get rid of the negative 4 and the 19. I'm going to get rid of the 19 first by subtracting 19 on both sides. That leaves me with negative 4k equals 4. 23 minus 19 was 4. Divide both sides by negative 4 so I can get k by itself. And I end up with k equals negative 1. Alright, the next example, I have negative 25 equals 1/2 times 10x minus 2 plus 3x. Alright, so I'm distributing a 1/2. When you can either change 10 into a fraction and the negative 2 into a fraction, and then multiply your fractions, top times top, bottom times bottom. Okay, but when you're multiplying by a half, all you're doing is saying, what is half of 10? Well, half of 10 is 5, so half of 10x is 5x. Half of 2 is 1, so I have 5x minus 1. Then I'm going to bring all the other pieces down. On the right side, I'm going to combine like terms. I have 2x pieces. So 5x plus 3x is going to become 8x. Now I'm trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to get rid of that minus 1 by adding 1 to both sides. That gives me negative 24 equals 8x. Divide both sides by 8, and I'm left with x equals negative 3. Now I have 20 equals 10x minus 6 times 2x plus 5. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to distribute a negative 6 into everything inside the parentheses. So I have 20 equals 10x, and I do negative 6 times 2x, that's going to give me a negative 12x. And I do negative 6 times 5, that's going to give me a negative 30. On the right side, I have two x terms, so I can combine those. 10x minus 12x becomes negative 2x, and bring everything else down. So I have 20 equals negative 2x minus 30. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to get rid of that minus 30 by adding 30 to both sides. 20 plus 30 is 50, so I have 50 equals negative 2x. Divide both sides by negative 2 to get x by itself, and I get negative 25 equals x. Alright, I have 11h minus 2h minus 1 equals 118. So I have to distribute everything that's in front of that parenthesis, which is a negative 1. There's really a 1 there. It's just not showing. So I'm distributing just the negative. It's just going to change the sign of everything. So I have 11h. That's not changing. And it's going to be minus 2h plus 1. And bring down the 118. On the left side, I have two h terms I can combine. So 11h minus 2h gives me 9h. So I have 9h plus 1 equals 118. I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So I have 9h equals 117. And I'm going to divide both sides by 9. And I end up with h equals 13. Alright, a class is raising funds to go ice skating at the rink at Campus Martis in Detroit. The class plans to rent one bus. The cost is $150 to rent a school bus for the day, plus $11 per student for admission to the rink, including skates. Identify the variable or variables in this situation. So our variable, the thing that might be changing, would be the number of students. The class raised $500. Write an equation to match this situation. Okay, so we know we're going to call our variable number of students S. So we know the bus costs $150. And then I'm adding $11 per student. So it'd be 11 times S, the number of students. And I know they raised $500, so this is equal to $500. Now they want us to solve the equation to determine the number of students who can attend the trip. All right, so if I have 150 plus 11s equals 500, I want to get s by itself. I'm going to subtract 150 on both sides. So that gives me 11s equals 350. I'm going to divide both sides by 11. I get s equals 31.8. Okay, we're talking about number of students, and since we can't have 0.8 students, we would just say 31. You can't round up. Okay, we don't have enough money for 32 students. We have enough money for 31 students plus a little extra. So 31 students can attend this trip. All right, that's it.